Hello, these are some things I do all year round that save me a lot of money for Christmas time. So I thought I'd share them with you to try and help you save a bit of money at Christmas. So it's January now and we're taking all the decorations down. One of the things I love are advent calendars. I love the old paper advent calendars. I always have. And I've always just got my children a paper one with the lovely little pictures behind each door. And when I was a child, we had one advent calendar and we had the same one every single year. So I would have the same advent calendar every year, the whole of my life, and my sister and brother the same. And we just used to shut the doors and put them with the Christmas decorations and get them out the following year. That doesn't seem to be a thing that happens anymore, but I still like to do that because the traditional advent calendars have gone very expensive, and even though I try and wait and buy them for half price, they seem to be getting harder and harder to get hold of. I have 5 children and I must admit I still love an advent calendar myself, and so what I do is I keep them, shut the doors and put them under like a heavy book to keep the doors shut, and then I'll swap them round. So this is one I actually had at Christmas myself, and I will give that to one of my other children this year because obviously it'll be new to her. And then in the family, because I still have 3 children at home, I will swap them. My youngest daughter had this one with a train on it this year, so I'll give that to one of my older daughters for this next Christmas. So yeah, so that's a little thing you can do, is to save your advent calendars. Don't just recycle them or think, oh, I've used it the once. This one, actually, my middle daughter has had now for 3 years because she just absolutely loves it. And I said, oh, do you want to swap it? And she says, no, I'll keep it for another year because she just really loves the advent calendar and the layout. So that's now in its 3rd, 4th year. And I just put it under something heavy, and by the time Christmas comes around again, the doors are more or less shut. And because it's a yearly thing, you don't always remember what's behind each door, and it's still quite exciting to do. I certainly didn't feel like I missed out as a child when I just had the same advent calendar. I loved it, actually. It had dolls on it, on a pond skating, and I really loved it and look forward to having my calendar every year. The other thing is I save Christmas cards. I don't send a lot of cards anymore, and I don't get as many cards as I used to back because a lot of people have stopped doing this. But the ones that I do get, what I'll do is I go through them and I cut out the pictures and use them as gift tags for next Christmas. I don't send a lot of gifts though. I'm afraid it seems to be a thing we do less and less now, especially because everybody's on such a strict budget. But I do send a few cards, a few gifts, and like something like that, I cut a circle or a heart around that, and then you can just use it as a gift tag because of course the other side is blank. The other thing I do sometimes is if there's ones that I think don't sort of lend themselves to being a gift tag, I will cut this bit off, and then you can use the back of it to write shopping lists and notes and things on. I've always got like bits of card to write lists to things to do, or say lists of groceries, and I find that Christmas cards are a really nice little size and lend itself to that really well. So as I say, anything that I think won't sort of do as a gift tag for next year, I will cut and use the back to make a list on or something like that. And that just is, it doesn't sound much, but it's actually quite handy. Another thing you can do is to save tins. Now this is a tin I actually got from the market, and it had chocolate chip cookies or biscuits in them, and it's a really nice gardening tin. I love tins myself. Well, something like this you could save and perhaps put some packets of seeds in and give it as a gift to someone you know who's a keen gardener or something like that. When I was younger, there used to be things more in tins than the plastic tubs, and the tins used to be quite flowery and quite pretty, and it would be quite usual for people to give you a tin, a reused tin, with say a homemade cake in it or something like that as a present, and it was really sweet and lovely, and I thought it was a really nice idea. So if you've got any tins from biscuits or anything like that, you might be good to keep them, not only to keep things in, but to re-gift homemade gifts in. I also keep boxes. I make treat boxes for everybody over Christmas, and sometimes I actually made stockings this year out of brown paper, but other years I've just put their gifts in little boxes and put some paper around them, or their favourite sweets and treats. So I don't get a lot of boxes. One of my daughters who lives with us gets a little box of makeup or something every month that she does. So she saves me her boxes, and they're quite sweet for treat boxes. Obviously Easter will be the next thing, and I do a few treats for Easter. If anybody has a shoe box, I keep that for the same reason, to do treats in. Or if you get any little boxes, it doesn't have to be a shoe box or a little brown box or anything like that, that you think might be useful for Christmas time to put a present in, or to do treat boxes or whatever. I always find it handy to keep them. Another free thing you can collect throughout the year is pine cones. I absolutely love pine cones. Really, really into pine cones, hence the name Pinecone Freedom. I've also got a massive pinecone tattoo down my arm, and I love them. They come in all shapes and sizes, and what I do is I collect them. This one I've put wire on because this is part of, I had a display up my staircase, up my banisters, with some holly and some natural pine cones that I just put up there. And I also put some on my windowsill in the kitchen as like natural decorations. I mean, you can paint them, spray them, or just keep them as natural, which I like to do. You can also make wreaths with them. This is a homemade wreath I made with all different shapes and sizes of pine cones. You can also decorate presents with them. Like especially these little ones are quite handy to put on a present, maybe with a little sprig of holly, and to tie on round a parcel for Christmas. And these are free. These is just what I've picked up when I've gone on my walks and things, and so it's very handy. I've also got a friend who's got a pine tree in the garden, and they like them collected because they get in the mower and things like that. So if you don't live somewhere where you can go walking for a pine tree, but you know someone with one in their garden or something, you could always ask them whether they'd let you collect some, because they're always handy for all sorts of things at Christmas. Talking of parcels and decorating parcels, I don't buy Christmas paper anymore. I know you can get it quite cheaply and inexpensively. I just buy a little bit to decorate the treat boxes with, but for everything else I collect brown paper throughout the year and use that to wrap my Christmas parcels with. Anything from Amazon that comes with brown paper I keep. This was from Paperchase, I think. I even have friends and that who they just either recycle it or burn it or put it in their compost. So I say, oh, if you've ever got any brown paper, if you don't want it, I'll have it. And I just collect it throughout the year, and there we are, keep it and wrap all my parcels in. And then to decorate them, obviously there's the pine cones, but things like this, my daughter got given from one of her older siblings a new duvet cover for Christmas, and wrapped around the duvet cover, you see this a lot on duvets and pyjamas and things, there's some ribbon. Well, I will save that ribbon and then I can use it to tie around a parcel for Christmas. And this is quite wide, so you might even get 3 or 4 strips of ribbon when you cut it down to reuse. So that sort of thing I always keep hold of if it ever comes my way. And things like string to go around the parcels. This is actually the piece of string that I tied up my banisters to put my holly and my pine cones in. And I thought, rather than just disregarding it, because it's still a nice long strip, I'll keep it and use it to tie around the brown paper parcels at Christmas to stop them from coming apart. So that's really good. It's like reuse, reduce, recycle, but it's also, you don't have to buy something else to do the same job. It's something I've already got. So I do that. I also keep kitchen roll tubes. I don't buy a lot of kitchen roll. I find I don't use enough of it to warrant it, but I have bought a little bit for my spring cleaning. So I then keep these tubes, cut them in half, and I make my own Christmas crackers with them. You can use toilet roll tubes, but I know some people don't like that idea. We were always told years ago, I don't know if this is true, that if you pop them in the microwave for a few seconds, it like sterilizes them, but you'd have to check on that. So I just keep the kitchen roll tubes, so I think it's slightly more hygienic, and then I'll cut these in half and use them to make my own crackers. And the last little tip that I will show you is what I do is I've got this little tin. It actually had tea, loose leaf tea in it many years ago, and I just really like the tin because I like little tins. And what I do is I put £1 a week in it every week, and then by December I've got more than enough to buy a Christmas tree. At the moment we like to get a real tree. We are thinking maybe to get an artificial tree, but we really love real Christmas trees, and so we put £1 a week in the tin, and then by Christmas we've got more than enough to buy a tree. And then we've also got a little bit left over as sort of if we need to get anything else, or a decoration or whatever, though we tend to have got enough decorations. I think this year there was a little bit extra money, and I did use it to get an extra treat for my daughter. So there we are, that's what I did. One year, which we were really short of money, which I'm not sure how much, I'm hoping to put £1 a week in it, but one year I just put 50 pence a week in the tin, and that was still, we just got a slightly smaller tree. So put what you can in there, and even if that's my phone going off in the background, even if you don't get enough for all of the tree that you want, it's less money to find at the time, so you don't have to find the whole amount at Christmas time. So I say I'm going to aim for £1, but if I've only got say 50p or 60p a week, that'll go in the tin, ready for Christmas. And talking of tins, this was a little Christmas tin that, because I love tins, I got given as a Christmas present. And what I do, I'm just trying to get the lid off, is things like this. I save I've got my Morrison's More voucher, and that's in date till January next year, so I will put that in my tin, and I will save anything like that, any more vouchers I get, or any Tesco Club Card point vouchers, any money off vouchers. I'll check the date, and if they're still in date for Christmas, I'll put all of that in this tin and save it. I never get vast amounts because I don't do a lot of shopping in any one place, because I sort of look around, but every little bit in there can go towards Christmas treats. So that's another little thing that I do. You don't have to have a fancy tin to put that in. You can just use an empty jar. I do a lot of things in jars to help me manage my money and budgeting. So that is another little thing that I do. But these things could help you save a little bit of money in December. Don't turn into a hoarder. I don't save every single thing that I have. I'm very selective and just choose the best things, or else you'd need an extra house to keep everything in. So try and be sensible, but you can have quite a lot of fun looking at things and thinking, what can I use those for? And if it's free, definitely consider what you can do with it.